Everyone upstairs, listen up. My son is getting married next month. Every neighbor needs to prepare a wedding cash gift of $8,808. If you own a car in this building, and it is worth over 70 grand, fill the tank in advance. At 2 in the morning, next Sunday, we will meet on time and leave for the wedding pickup procession. I will let every owner in this building, on the chat app, approve my request as soon as possible. Oh, and just transfer the wedding cash gift directly to me. Before long, her friend request came through. I hit reject without hesitation. The next second, someone was pounding on my front door, hard enough to shake the walls. I checked the camera by the door. A middle-aged woman was hammering on my security door, absolutely furious, and she was shouting like she had every right. Open up. Why did you not add me? Hurry up and pay. You are the only one in the whole building who still has not chipped in. This is an upscale apartment complex. Maybe everyone else could shrug off that kind of money, but I was not buying her act. I turned on the smart locks intercom and said, perfectly flat, isn't 8,888 a little low? How about this? I will give you 88,880, and I will throw in a car too. How does that sound? The woman lit up the second she heard that. Fine by me. I want that black Mercedes you've been driving lately. I would not be caught dead in that white Volkswagen. I took out my phone and added her myself. The money is sent. Remember to check it. Now, that is more like it. I will forgive you. You little bastard. How dare you play me? You sent me a sticker. Wait, seriously? Does someone really not know? The app has transfer limits. Please tell me someone did not actually tap that fake payment sticker. Get out here. You promised. So, today you owe me the 88,000 and the car. Seeing her act like such a shameless thug, I was so angry I actually laughed. I pulled out my phone and called the police. She kept pounding on the door hard enough to rattle it, all while screaming for me to transfer the wedding cash gift. I ignored the lunatic throwing a tantrum outside my door and calmly waited for the police to arrive. The moment she saw the police, she looked like she'd found her saviors. Officer, the man inside owes me money and refuses to pay. Wasn't it a gentleman who called the police? I quickly opened the door. I am the one who called. I told the officers the whole story from start to finish. After hearing it, both officers looked completely speechless. The woman stood there, wringing her hands, then said with absolute confidence, Officer, we are all neighbors. What is wrong with letting everyone share in the joy? Besides, I notified him in advance, so he should give me the wedding cash gift. He even promised to give me 88. And he said he would give me a car. What right does he have to back out? The officers' mouths twitched as they listened. Then one of them put on a stern face and said, It is already 11 at night. You are disturbing the peace. As for the wedding cash gift, this gentleman is neither your family nor your close friend. He has no obligation to chip in for your son's wedding. After scolding her, the officer turned to me and said, Sir, if she does anything like this again, please call the police right away. I nodded to show I understood. Before that woman left, she threw one last vicious threat over her shoulder. Just you wait. Not long after that, just as I was starting to feel sleepy, heavy thuds and wild stomping started crashing through the ceiling above me. Then came all kinds of crashing and clattering. So that woman lived right above me. Then her smug voice message popped up in my chat app. Have you learned your lesson yet? Be smart and bring me the wedding cash gift and the car. Otherwise, you will not sleep a wink, night after night. I sat up at once. I dug out a cardboard box and some soundproofing foam. Then I grabbed my new little speaker and wrapped it up tight, layer after layer. I left only one small opening. I took the little device I had just made and propped it firmly against the ceiling. I opened my music player and put heavy metal rock on an endless loop. Soon, in the chat app, she flooded me with one 60-second voice message after another. Without a word, I turned the little speaker's volume up another notch. Then I put in earplugs and ignored every filthy word she sent. Early the next morning, I ran into my neighbor across the hall by the elevator. She gave me a sympathetic look. Are you okay? That family upstairs is bad news. I immediately realized she had been harassed by them too. So, I quickly asked, did all of you pay the wedding cash gift? We did. That family fights dirty. Sometimes even calling the police does not stop them. She told me. Her name was Sophie Miller. She had moved in a year ago. The woman who pounded on my door yesterday was Karen Carter. Her husband was Greg Carter. You have no idea. That family is disgusting. Right after they moved in, they threw a housewarming party. The cash gift was $1,880. Of course, I refused. So Karen's whole family harassed me for a solid week. According to Sophie, plenty of neighbors were worn down by their shameless tricks and forced into paying. On the day of the housewarming party, that family actually set up in the open area of the complex and served everyone cheap, fast food fried chicken. What made it even worse was, there were 14 people at the table, but they only prepared enough food for 6. Hearing that made my blood boil. I promised her. How? I would get even for her. Just then, the elevator doors opened. Sophie gasped and hid behind me. Karen Carter was standing at the elevator entrance. Beside her stood a middle-aged man. That must have been her husband, Greg Carter. You lying, little snake. Finally, caught you. If you do not hand over the money in the car today, you are not going anywhere. Karen shouted at the top of her lungs. Greg stood beside her, with his hands on his hips, glaring at me viciously. We already told you. My son is getting married next week. What right do you have to refuse? Do you have any manners at all? Looking like you do. Living here at such a young age. Who knows how many women you've been seducing behind the scenes. I theatrically fanned the air in front of my nose. Oh, wow. No wonder the sewer is empty. It is all coming out of your mouth. No wonder the stench is so strong. Greg flew into a rage. How dare you insult my wife? I am not just insulting her. I am insulting you too. Who the hell do you think you are? Just because you told me I have to pay. If you showed up at the White House tomorrow, would that make the whole country yours? If you are sick, get treated early. Do not come bother me. I said it all in one breath and felt refreshed from head to toe. He was so furious he could barely get his words out. Humiliated and enraged, he reached out to grab my hair. I ducked at once and dodged him. Then I lifted my foot and stomped hard on Greg Carter's instep. Inside the elevator, Greg let out a scream like a pig being slaughtered. Karen was scared out of her mind. She fumbled for her phone and called the police. After the police arrived, they pulled up the elevator surveillance footage. It showed, clear as day, that Greg Carter had blocked me inside the elevator and had tried to attack me first. In the end, Greg and Karen got fined $500. They were also ordered to apologize to me. Greg said through clenched teeth. Sorry. I ignored him. With my chin raised, I pulled Sophie between the two of them and walked past with my back straight, seeing the resentment in their eyes. I knew this was not over. Sure enough, my gut feeling came true fast. After dinner, Greg and Karen showed up at my door again. Greg deliberately put on a generous act. Kid, we do not want your wedding cash gift or your car anymore. That saves you a huge expense. Karen chimed in from the side. So you need to be a groomsman for our family. Also, some relatives are coming next week. Your place is so big. It is wasted on just one person. You might as well clear out and let our relatives stay there for a few days. They are not used to staying with strangers. When the time comes, you can just find some hotel outside and make do. Why should I be a groomsman, and why should I give my home to your relatives? We are all neighbors. What is wrong with doing a favor? Besides, hotels are so expensive. I was so angry, I actually laughed. Where did you get that kind of confidence? From a fortune cookie. What is wrong with you? We have already compromised this much. Letting you be a groomsman means we think highly of you. Most people would never get this chance. Fine. We will take another loss. We will give you a token lucky money envelope with $6.60. For good luck. I was honestly speechless. Greg even put on a heartbroken expression. You, young people, stop obsessing over money all day. A wedding is supposed to be joyful. It is not about making money. Get out. If you do not leave, I am calling the police. That threat actually scared Greg off, but he still threw out one last threat. You are something else. Always calling the police over nothing. I do not care. Our relatives are arriving in 2 days anyway. You have to clear out your apartment for them. Otherwise, you will regret it. With that, he dragged Karen away like a beaten dog. I took out my phone and called on Linda. They wanted to threaten me and take over my apartment. Then they could not blame me for playing my ace. Hi, Aunt Linda, it is me. Ethan is on summer break, right? Let him come stay with me for a few days. Ethan Brooks is my little brother. He had just turned 18 this year. He was not quite like other boys his age. He had been clinically evaluated and diagnosed with bipolar mania, what people often call a diagnosed mental illness. I wanted to see what new tricks Greg Carter and his family could still pull. As it turned out, trouble hit the very day I picked Ethan up. When we got home from the train station, my smart lock would not open no matter what I did. The screen said, fingerprint verification failed. Please try again in 24 hours. I pulled up the security footage and saw a sneaky man in a mask repeatedly entering the wrong password at my door. Judging by his build, it was definitely Greg Carter. I grabbed Ethan and stormed up to apartment 801 on the 8th floor. You are the one who messed with my lock, right? Do not go making baseless accusations. What? Can you not get into your own home? If you ask me, you might as well book a hotel. Who knows? Maybe you will be locked out every day from now on. Seeing him deny it to the bitter end, I forced my anger down. This time, I can let it go. But there had better not be a next time. Greg thought I had backed down. So he said, with a hidden edge in his voice, hey, our wedding still needs one more groomsman. And in a couple of days, my relatives will be here. Lend them your apartment for a while. I suggest you give up that idea right now. I will not be a groomsman, and I will never lend out my apartment. Greg's face darkened. So there is no room to talk. You had better not regret this. If you book a hotel, make it a monthly stay. After saying that, he turned to shut the door. But Ethan pressed one hand against the door panel. When Greg realized he could not close it, he roared, "Move it." Where did this little punk come from? Bang! Ethan slammed Greg backward. Then he pinned him to the floor with one hand. Who the hell were you telling to move? Why? Oh, you let go of me. I am calling the police. Karen and the Carter's son heard the commotion and rushed out of the bedroom. They grabbed whatever was within reach and tried to swing it at Ethan. After a burst of clattering crashes, Greg Carter's family of 3 lay neatly sprawled across the floor. Ethan stood there holding a broom, looking fierce and majestic. Looking at that scene, I knew it was not exactly moral, but it sure felt satisfying. Greg threatened weakly. You just wait. I am calling the police right now. I will have you thrown in jail. I pulled out the get-out-of-jail-free card I carried with me. Take a look at this. Look closely. The one who hit you has a diagnosed psychiatric condition. Strictly speaking, never mind beating you up. Even if he really did something worse, he still wouldn't have to go to jail. Ethan played along and gave them a vicious glare. Go ahead and call the police today. At most, they hold him overnight, then let him go. As for what happens after that, you had better pray for yourselves. When Greg heard me say that, he immediately dropped the idea of calling the police. Fine. Guess it is my bad luck. Now, hurry up and get the hell out. Ethan frowned. Greg sensed something was wrong and even softened his tone. Please, go ahead. Please leave my home right now. Ethan suddenly spoke up. Even I froze for a second. Wait, they have to pay for the hotel. Fine. Just go already. I will pay you tomorrow. Since someone was willing to get stuck with the bill, I saw no reason to be polite. I took Ethan straight to the fanciest hotel around. The next day, I threw the bill at Greg Carter. What kind of hotel did you stay in? How can it be this expensive? This is outrageous. I am not getting stuck with that bill. This is nothing. When you demanded that sky-high wedding cash gift from me, why did that not feel like too much? If you do not want to pay, fine. Then tonight, I will just have to bring Ethan over for another visit. Hearing that Ethan might come back, Greg finally transferred the money to me. The second the money hit my account, I immediately went into the homeowners group chat and sent out several big Cash App giveaways. I gave away every last cent. After I explained where the money came from, the chat filled with a neat row of thumbs up. As for Greg Carter's family, they went completely silent in the chat. They did not even dare claim the cash drops. That was nothing like their usual grab every freebie style. I wondered to myself if they were secretly cooking up some bigger move. Sure enough, just 2 days later, their counterattack came. I just did not expect it to be that vicious. I had barely arrived at school when an administrator called me in for a talk. They handed me an anonymous complaint letter. It accused me of improper private conduct. Seeing that, I was just about to explain, but the administrator waved me off. Ryan, personally, I believe in your character, but the accusations are laid out in too much detail. So here is what we will do. Go home and rest for a while. Lie low until this blows over. Just like that, I was put on administrative leave. When it rains, it pours. When I got back to the complex, I had just stepped out of the car when a sharp, drilling pain shot through my foot. I looked down and saw my left foot planted on a thumbtack. The point had already pierced my flesh. I leaned against the car, gasping for breath. Only then did I notice my parking space was covered in thumbtacks. All 4 tires had been punctured flat. Greg Carter appeared out of nowhere. With a smug little sneer, he said, "Mr. Ryan, what happened? Are you feeling unwell? Want me to call that little psycho of yours?" I had no patience for his fake concern. I told him to get lost. Greg loudly called over the onlookers around us. "Everyone, come look at this. Young people today have no manners at all." I kindly tried to help, and he cursed me out for it. Hearing the people around me whisper and point, Greg looked even more pleased with himself. I ignored Greg, barking like a dog over there. I limped away from the scene. The moment I stepped out of the elevator, I saw a puddle of some unknown liquid by my front door, and a pile of feces. From experience, it was absolutely dog urine and dog poop. I had not lived here long. I was not close with any of the neighbors. The only ones I had a grudge with were Greg Carter and his family in apartment 801. At that moment, I felt strangely calm. Since they wanted to play, I would play this to the end. First, I took photos to document the evidence at my door and parking space. Then I went home and bandaged myself up. The second Ethan saw the wound on my foot, he could not sit still. I talked him down for ages, before Ethan finally put down the kitchen knife in his hand. He was my own little brother. After all, I could not actually let him go chop someone up. After I dressed the wound, I had Ethan support me, as we checked the surveillance footage of my door. In the footage, a large black dog was relieving itself at my front door. No one else appeared the entire time. But in the video's background audio, a voice could be heard faintly in the background. It was an unfamiliar voice. I saved the video to my phone. Then I had Ethan help me over to property management to check the garage surveillance. The garage footage showed a short, chubby, slightly balding man wandering near my parking space several times. When we zoomed in and looked closely, we could see that every time he passed by, he shook something from his pants pocket and dropped a small handful of thumbtacks. In both videos, Greg Carter's family never appeared. Had I guessed wrong? Then a thought flashed through my mind. Greg had mentioned that relatives were coming in a couple of days. Sure enough, property management gave me the answer. Yesterday, Greg had registered with property management 8 temporary outside visitors for a short-term stay. One of them had a large black dog on a leash. I threw the question back to property management. The footage proves his relatives did it. So, how are you going to handle this? We will contact the other party for you as soon as possible and try to mediate. We will try to mediate. The concierge gave me that promise. The call connected quickly. Do not talk nonsense. Uncle Mike was just passing by. He does not even know how those thumbtacks fell out, and my family has never owned a dog. My relatives do not have one either. Maybe some stray dog just did not like him. Stop trying to pin this on us. Greg snapped back so hard the concierge had nothing to say. Greg left the concierge completely speechless. I casually waved it off. Greg wanted to play stubborn. That suited me perfectly, because I had planned to hit back their own way. I sent Ethan down to the garage to pick up every single thumbtack, one by one. We saved them. They would come in handy later. Meanwhile, I stayed at home and waited. Before long, I heard that familiar voice again. Buddy, go. Sure enough, the dog owner did not dare show himself on camera. Only the dog came trotting over, tail wagging, to do its business at my front door. Right then, the police I had called in advance arrived like the cavalry right on cue. Within mere seconds, the big black dog was caught red-handed. The dog owner rushed straight to my door, yelling his head off. Who are you people? What gives you the right to grab my dog? The officer's eyes sharpened. They stared him down. Your dog. So, that means the person ordering the dog to foul someone else's doorway was you. Then you will have to come with us, right along with your dog. The dog owner weighed his options again and again. In the end, he still denied it. No, it is not my dog. I chose that moment to ask, Officer, with an unclaimed stray dog like this, what usually happens after it is caught? If a stray dog bites someone, it has to be put down right away. If it has not hurt anyone, it is usually sent to an animal shelter. I know a friend who absolutely loves dogs. Could he adopt this one? That sentence stunned everyone there. The officer thought it over. After considering it, he nodded and agreed. So now this dog belongs to my friend. The dog owner tried to snatch the big black dog back, while shouting upstairs, No way. Give Buddy back to me. Greg, hurry down and help me. In the stairwell, a burst of hurried footsteps rang out at once. Then came a string of pained cries. We rushed to the stairwell entrance. Greg's group was there, some clutching their feet, some pressing their hands, and some covering their backsides. Thumbtacks were stuck in every one of those places. Now that was what I call returning the favor. The police quickly checked the surveillance footage. I threw Greg's own words right back at him and made him glare in fury. Do not make things up. Somehow, those thumbtacks just got scattered. The police gave Ethan a stern talking to. Mostly, they reminded him that someone with a psychiatric condition should not carry so many dangerous items around. Ethan nodded. He looked as obedient as a schoolboy being scolded. With the police mediating, Greg and his relatives slunk away in disgrace. But I was not done returning the favor. I stayed up all night, training that dog. At last, I successfully replaced its former owner. I stood at the 8th floor stairwell entrance and gave the command. Buddy, go. Before long, a non-stop stream of curses came from the door of apartment 801. I also got a chat app message from Karen Carter. Did you tell Buddy to do that? I kept throwing her own words right back at her. My family has never owned a dog. Buddy has already been sent to my friend. Maybe some stray dog just did not like your family. Stop trying to frame me. After sending that, I felt a whole lot better. I switched my phone straight to Do Not Disturb mode and lay down to catch up on sleep.